All right, Karen and Amber, I do want to interrupt just for a few minutes here. I want to bring folks up to date on information coming in from the National Weather Service through their chat line. This is a very intense thunderstorm. I mentioned a few minutes ago there was a tornado warning in effect for that area, and we were concerned for the McAdoo, Afton area, and the community of Dickens. You can see right now that intense thunderstorm is still tracking southeast. Indications from the Weather Service now is that there may be a developing large tornado just south of Dickens, but it is close enough to the community of Dickens. You've got to stay inside and be seeking shelter at this particular time. I'm zooming in a little bit here, and again, there's community of Spur. It's not a threat at this point to Spur. It has shifted more to the east, and if you'll notice the red area here, that's where the warning is currently in effect, the tornado warning. So I wanted to bring update now because of the fact there's likely some very large hail there. We haven't seen any updates, but earlier this storm has produced up to baseball-sized hail associated with it. But biggest concern, right there you see a little bit of a hook in between all those lightning strikes there. That's where your general rotation would be. So again, we're watching it very closely. It is drifting east to southeast. I think the last movement was around 20 miles per hour, but that's not as critical as the fact that folks in and around McAdoo, although it looks like it may be clearing that community a little bit, but around Dickens and particularly Afton, the general area and southeastern areas of Dickens County, you need to be seeking shelter right now. And by shelter, I mean that means get inside your house. You want to make sure that you go to the lowest floor available, away from the windows, away from the doors. Don't go to the attic. Don't stay in the living room area. Try to stay where you can hear our reports. If you have a NOAA weather radio or you have our KCBD First Alert weather app, you can take that with you. We'll keep you up to date. But once again, it appears there may be a large tornado that's either developed or developing in that area. Shania's back in the forecast office, so she's watching the chat line. She'll be bringing me any updates that might occur, but that storm is drifting slowly east-southeast, a very dangerous storm. It has produced winds earlier of 90 miles an hour in McAdoo. It has produced winds over 100 miles an hour in Seth Ward, which is just west-southwest of Plainview. That's from this particular storm cell. That's how long it has lasted from Dimmitt, tracking southeast. So again, tornado warning currently in effect for that area along Spur. I'm going to step over here and do a little operations on the radar just to make sure you're sure where we are here and what's going on, but give you some zoom ins and mainly remind you to seek shelter anywhere in that area with all the rain cover here. If I can get my Doppler here to shift over just a little bit. There we go. And there's Spur. The storm doesn't appear to be a direct threat for that community. There's Dickens. I know I paused this for just a second so you can see the track. Now there's the track of the storm coming south. Dickens is a little earlier, and you can see the arc there indicated northwest of that. And then the storm rotates right through, and you can see how it's just south and southeast of Dickens now, tracking on to the east to southeast. So folks in the southeastern corner of Dickens County, and for folks in the southwestern areas, I believe that is King County there, southwest of Guthrie. You just need to be prepared to seek shelter. So that's going to be the closet, the bathroom, the basement, safe areas away from windows and stuff. Try to have your volume up so that you can hear the latest updates from us. If you have a connection with the Weather Service through their NOAA weather radio or with our KCBD weather app, that's another way that you can find out exactly what is taking place with this thunderstorm. It's very dangerous, continues to track to the southeast. I'll try to zoom in just a little bit here, give you a better idea. There's community of Gilpin. There is Spur along Highway 70. Storm is still north of Gilpin, and then you can see, let's see, we'll zoom in a little bit more along 62 and 82, and let's see if I can take those lightning strikes off here. 1 second, give us a little more clarity with this particular storm. All right, now this should help a little bit. And there's some large hail indicated in that area. There's Dickens. So you can see the worst may be past Dickens. I'm not sure yet. There's where the largest hail is. And if you'll see the little bit, it's not a true hook, but it does show where there could be the rotation occurring. And the Weather Service believing in many cases where you've got torrential rain, you can have that rain wrap around the tornado. It makes it difficult for the radar and for storm chasers to see where the tornado actually is. So there's your position of Highway 7. 70, and based on how this loop is going, you can see the inflow there. And again, there's community of Gilpin, so it is tracking southeast through Dickens County at this particular time. And I saw a few roads picked up there. This is well to the east of 261. I don't see any general roads in that area around Gilpin other than Highway 70. So folks in Gilpin, you folks need to remain alert. Hopefully the storm will track more east than southeast as it continues to move through Dickens County. I'm going to step away from the radar here and take a look at the Weather Service chat line for the latest information. So just bear with me for a second. Back in here with Shania, looking at the forecast office and details.
It's still exhibiting very strong low-level rotation.
Still a lot of low-level rotation. It's south of Dickens, and that is as of about 13, just a couple of minutes ago. So once again, they're still just saying the tornado is likely completely rain-wrapped. And again, that is south of the Dickens community. It is tracking on to the east and southeast. There's going to be torrential amounts of rainfall in that area. But the main thing is just remember the safety tips associated with this storm system. And again, tornado warning in effect for that area. Here's Highway 62, 82, 70 extending down to Spur. Folks in Dickens, we haven't heard anything from the Weather Service or from anyone in that area, but we can check in with the Sheriff's Office here very shortly on that to see if anything has occurred. More concerned with the folks that are still in advance ahead of that storm as it moves east and southeast, making its way towards the areas well to the east there. Eventually, that's going to impact possibly Guthrie, but I think the core of this may track a little bit more south and southeast as it makes its way through that region. If I put a tracker on there, you might understand a little bit better. I'll pick it up from about where that storm is based on its south-southeastward movement at about 20 miles, anywhere from 15 to 20 miles an hour. No major communities, but I know there's some farming and ranching activity out in that area, so I want folks to be aware of that. So with the fact that we see that it's likely southeast of Dickens and south of 62 and no major communities in that region, I will go ahead and turn it back to Karen and Abner or sports and producers and let them take control of the news right now, and I'll continue to watch the chat line and come back in as necessary.